Welcome back, everyone, for what I'm sure will be an exciting, interested, and well-rounded show. That's a pun intended for our special guest. Today, we welcome the man, the myth, the legend, David Weiss, or probably nowadays better known within the truth field as Flat Earth Dave, who is the creator of the ingenious and very thought-provoking Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Map app, which you can get through his website, the flatearthpodcast.com, or on app stores for your smart devices. Now, when people have been researching conspiracy theories for a while, they eventually come across this controversial topic. And to be honest, most recoil in horror from it at first, ridiculing it and not looking into the subject to any depth. If you can, please resist that urge. If you're coming to this with fresh eyes and ears today, this is going to be a fun and thought-provoking conversation that I'm sure you will enjoy. Now, you might be thinking, what does Brother Paul think? Well, I'm completely impartial when it comes to this topic, or am I? That might become obvious later on, who knows? Seriously, my opinions on this will remain my own at the end of the day. This show is for you, our sleepy-headed listener. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, Dave. It feels like it's Christmas already and it's not even Easter. How the hell are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And yeah, this is a topic that triggers emotions that make no sense. And so for those of you that are getting triggered, I have an offer for you. Listen to the show. And then I have a couple videos for you to watch. And at the end of those videos, if you can give me one globe proof, you win 3 Bitcoins, right?
Wow.
Bitcoins, I think they just hit their all-time high, $68,000 a piece. Okay, so that's a nice prize. So if I'm crazy enough to give away 3 Bitcoins. So when I first heard about Flat Earth, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I had a podcast. People would comment in the comments, hey, you got to check out this 1-minute video. I'm like, I'm not watching your 1-minute video. You're stupid. You're banned for life. You can never comment again. And I'd appreciate it if you would stop listening to our podcast, because I don't want people that dumb listening. But then this was going on for a while. And one day I was speaking with a researcher who I respect a lot. She said, Dave, I think the earth might be flat. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And she goes, here, watch these videos and then tell me what you think. And I watched them with the idea of just debunking them, with proving the globe, smashing flat earth, helping these people with their mental issues because they think the earth is flat. How stupid. And for 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. I was looking. And back then in 2014, that's when YouTube would go, oh, you like that? Here, watch this new video. Watch this by Taboo Conspiracy. Watch this by Jeranism. Watch this by Mark Sargent. And I'm watching. And so then I was like, all right, I'm not just going to believe the earth is flat. I'm going to go out. I bought $1,000 worth of equipment, super zoom camera, P900 at the time. And I zoomed in on things that should have been 50, 60 feet below the curve. And there they are. I could see them. No curvature, no ball. And the reason people emotionally freak out is because you're trying to take their ball away and they're still a child holding on to it.
Yeah. I think there's a really important point in there, Dave, is that you actually come from a point where you thought this was ridiculous at the start, and look where you are now when you try to debunk the subject.
Yeah.
With you going through an awakening of that magnitude, it's obviously mind-blowing. How did it feel at first when you started realizing there might be something to it, actually?
So when I realized, wow, the whole globe model is ridiculous, and all my, beliefs, my life understanding, I love space. I grew up, I watched Star Trek, every episode, Lost in Space, every episode, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, every science fiction movie, every movie, the moon landings, everything. And that was literally part of me. And that's all by design. That is all by design. And I had to let all that go. And it was really emotionally troubling. But then I realized the earth is flat. But guess what? I was doing a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, waking people up to all of the big false flags that are happening around the world. And I knew that the earth was not a globe anymore and that it was flat, but I decided not to bring it up, because if I bring it up, it's going to scare people away and they're not going to wake up to these other things that are more important. than the shape of the earth. And I had a thing called Exposing the Big Three, the thing that happened in New York, the thing that happened in Connecticut, and the thing that happened in Boston. I don't want to say what they are because if you say them, you get censored. And I figured when people wake up to that, they'll just wake up and start seeing everything. Well, people woke up to that and they go right back to sleep. They're like, well, yeah, well, different administration. And, that was this. And, it's not going to happen again. And blah, 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 blah. And I realized, as that time was going on, that, wait a minute, the flat earth, it's not the shape that matters, it's the lie that matters. It's why they're lying that matters. And then I realized I got to bring it up on the podcast. So I started bringing it up and I met all sorts of controversy and stuff. But after about a year, the podcast kind of blew up because one of the co-hosts couldn't handle it. And it was too much. And after 3 years, we ended the podcast, which was fine. But that's when I started the Flat Earth podcast, because there was literally the Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole ended and the Flat Earth podcast started. I went to a Flat Earth conference in Denver, I think it was. And I met a guy, Matt Long, there. And we're like, hey, let's actually, I started with somebody else, but Matt ended up being the host of the show. And it worked out amazingly perfect. Everything works out perfect when you know where you live, because this world is not filled with coincidences. It's filled with a conspiracy. And that conspiracy is this realm is conspiring to deliver all of your thoughts to you, good or bad. They don't want you to know that your thoughts create your reality. Your imagination creates, everything is created from imagination. But if they put you on a ball, you can no longer imagine beyond that ball. So they're limiting your thoughts, keeping you in fear, keeping you, playing on their fake ball field. You're going to play by their fake rules, and versus, being in the field that we were born in, nature, God's world. So, if you play on their ball field, you got to play by their rules. If you use their fake money, you got to play by their rules. So, the idea is to get off the ball field and get off their fiat system and take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, that shows how triggering this subject can be, Dave, because you obviously had your own conspiracy podcast. And even with that, seeing the amount of corruption there was, Flat Earth was still something that initially, boom, just triggered you big time.
I had an open mind. I go, but not that open. There's some things that we know, some things that with but there's think of my offer. One proof that, if something's physical, like the globe Earth, you should be able to prove curvature, axial rotation, something. There's nothing. And then the globe will go, there's a million proofs of the globe and there's no proofs of flat Earth. Wrong. There's a million proofs of flat Earth. Every daily experience is flat. And there's zero proofs of globe other than your imagination. You look out across a wide ocean, you can see the same distance in all directions. Well, if you plot those points out, that draws a big circle. You see in a circle. If I could see 50 miles, 100 miles, 10 miles, whatever it is, I could see that same in all directions. That's a circle of vision. Your mind programming goes, oh, that's the horizon, and it's the globe wraps around. That's your imagination. That's what you've been programmed to believe. But the truth is we just see into the vanishing points.
Yeah, the amount of indoctrination we've had since we were kids in school is unbelievable. How long have you had this offer on the table? It's obviously been a while, because I've watched your videos for years now. So
3, 4 years, 5 years, I lost track. Yeah.
Wow.
It was.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. It was one Bitcoin when it was at like $65. Then Bitcoin went down to way down. I was like, okay, I'll make it 3 Bitcoins now. And then Bitcoin's way back up. So it's a substantial offer. But the thing is, if I had 100 Bitcoins, I would bet all of them, because there's zero chance of me losing them, because the earth is not a ball.
Yeah.
The people that defend the globe, they don't know anything about it, right? What's the diameter? What's the circumference? What's the orbiting speed? How far is it from the sun? How big is the sun? They don't know any of those answers, but they still defend the globe. Why? It's amazing
Yeah.
the job the
Well,
controllers have done programming our minds.
I've got a weird question for you here, Dave. I hope you don't mind before we get into the proofs for the flat Earth that you're going to take us through. I don't know if anybody's ever asked you this, but it's to do with science versus scientism. Now, there seems to be a strange disconnect between what people will accept as a possibility and the messenger who's delivering the information. For example, if a researcher 30 years ago suggested that our reality might be a simulation, they would either have been outcast, ridiculed, locked up, or all three. But now, as we speak, scientists tell us that we might actually be in a simulation and people are willing to accept it. So, my point here is if people are willing to believe that our reality is a simulation, that surely means that everything in our reality is up for grabs as a possibility, including the shape and form of the earth. So, why are people so willing to believe we may be in a computer game in a illusory reality, but most will scoff and tell you you're crazy if you think the world is anything other than a globe?
Yeah, that's a big one. And I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of cities and Mayan, buildings and stuff, and then compare them to a computer board and the free
Mm,
energy from if you looked into Tataria at all,
yeah.
the old world. There's all free energy and grids, star forts. If you've looked into star forts, there's a website that shows you star forts all over the earth. They're all being mapped. It's it's beyond our current ability to understand. So once you understand that we're not from a big bang, then you really understand that we're at the center of a creator, the creator's creation. And if you think about the way this world works, I believe that we are eternal souls that are having experiences in these meat suits. So
Hmm.
we're, like Avatar, and we're having an experience here. And when we leave our bodies, we go back to the stars. Stars are, in my opinion, are angelic. They're perfect. That's why they never move, which ruins the heliocentric model because we're corkscrewing through space, going, all different directions at once, and and they want us to believe that none of the stars ever move. This is going on. This is happening, right? And at speeds you can't even comprehend, and the stars never change. That's so stupid. But so I call it a physical simulation. I don't think we're in a computer game. I think we are in a realm, an electrical realm. We are electrical beings. Everything in this realm is alive, from rocks to everything. They were alive. They are alive. It's all part of this situation of this and the stars and the wandering stars, which they now call planets. They're all named after gods. All the planets. That's weird. And when you look at them, they really look like they're alive. When you really look at them and not at NASA and Disney depictions of them. So, so is it a simulation? I think it's the best words I have for it is a physical simulation. It's a
Yeah.
physical simulation. We're having an experience here to expand the mind of the creator.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought from that question, because I've been pondering this, is that this appeal to authority is almost like a syndrome people have got. If you put a lab coat on someone, Dave, they'll automatically trust them more, they'll believe it more. Whereas if you've got a researcher who's really, really delved into a subject, it's harder for them to gain that sort of trust from people. People will trust scientists and people in positions of kind of alleged authority, if you like, quicker than somebody who's researched something really in depth.
Yeah, the myth of the lab coat. Mark Sargent did one of his clues on the power of the lab coat. Bill Nye,
Mm.
the science guy, wears his lab coat and his bow tie. Therefore, he knows he's a failed comedian. He is nothing, right? He knows nothing. Him and Neil deGrasse Tyson are the two head clowns of the heliocentric cult. And when I say that truthfully because they will not provide any of the scientific method. They don't use it. They strawman us, which means they make claims about flat Earth that aren't true, and claim they are true, but they'll never talk to us. They only talk to themselves. They say, there's no time to talk with flat earthers. We don't want to give them a platform. That's not how science works. If someone's challenging you, you crush them with science, not the word
Yeah.
science. They love using the word science. Well, we're scientists. Okay. Where's your science? Well, the Venus is the size of Earth, and when it passed the sun, we did some math and figured out the diameter of the Earth. How do you know Venus is the size of Earth? I think it's the size of a yoga ball. Okay. You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. I mean, I think people forget that science, the proper scientific method, is to continually challenge current models and theories and get closer to what might be the real truth. When they tell you science is settled, this is one thing that really disturbs me from the other side of the argument, because science is never settled. That's totally against the scientific method. I find that quite disturbing when you hear scientists that are supposed to be at a high level in any field saying that, because you should constantly be challenging these models and theories. And let's face it, the standard model is full of theories. So we've got a long way to go before we get anywhere near the real truth. So
Yeah, I mean they indoctrinate us in schools. The teachers are gods. When you first go to school as a little kid, your teachers are gods. Whatever they say is true. They would never lie to you. They give you a globe. They give you a worksheet that says the moon goes around the earth goes around the sun, and you got to memorize that. That's one of the first things. That's a core belief. At that age, you don't have the ability to question or doubt, so it's stored as a truth. It's like hypnosis. When you hypnotize somebody, hey, I am the president of the United States. Paul, I'm the president of the United States. What did I say?
you're the president of the United States.
Is that true or false?
I wish it was true.
Okay. Well, okay, but it's false. So what
Yeah, it's
happened
false. Yeah.
there? Your conscious mind is like a screen, and
Mhm.
it hears things and it sorts them out. It says, okay, that's this big, and my holes are only this big. That's bullshit. Excuse me. And it stores it in your subconscious memory bank, which doesn't have any discernment, as false information. It's still there. It's in your subconscious memory bank, but it's stored as false. When you hypnotize somebody, you relax their conscious mind, you open it up, and then you can talk directly to their subconscious mind. When you're talking to a kid as an authority figure, a teacher, you're talking to their subconscious mind. They don't have the conscious screen to question things. They believe, and it's stored. It becomes a foundation of their world belief. And when you try to remove that ball as an adult, they become children again, because you're literally taking the foundation of all of their learning.
I mean, David, you obviously you ran your own business. You're highly educated. I went through the university system here in the UK, and when I was studying and learning all the material I did, when I was going through the years of study, I just regurgitated everything that I ever read from a book, and I believed everything is gospel. I never tested it until I was qualified, and then I was actually working on something unrelated to what I usually did, done some mathematics and realized that it didn't really line up. And that's when I started saying I just believed all the stuff in these textbooks were actually facts. So,
Memorization and regurgitation. And if you
mhm,
question it, you're literally sent to the principal's office or thrown out. In academia, if you come up with something that goes completely against mainstream geology, biology, or anything, even cosmology, they will not look at it. They will not publish it. So when they say, well, where's a peer-reviewed paper? They won't peer review it because it challenges all of their work. And then the big scientists, they're getting grants. And if they go against it, they lose their grants. So they're out there,
mhm.
they're pseudo scientists. That's who they are. They're a bunch of pseudo
Yeah,
scientists. So how could all the scientists be in on it? There's not that many scientists looking into this. And there's a lot of people that know it's not true, speak up, but nobody hears them because they're not on a platform, they're not published, they can't get in the mainstream. This has been going on for years. This isn't something new.
yeah.
Everyone on the world knew the earth was flat in the early 1900s. Now, you know that? They all did. I interviewed a woman named Ruth, 102 years old in 2020, and she was taught flat Earth in public school here in America in the 1920s. And we found other people that said they were taught flat Earth and globe Earth all the way up to the 1950s, early 60s. And that's when things changed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
On my app, which I'm showing you here, which can be found on my website, there's the web button, which is the more resources page. If you scroll down, there's a whoops, I'm not showing you, of course.
It's okay.
That's all right. If there's a NASA nonsense, a moon landing stuff, there's some great videos in there. Great videos
Mm-hmm.
here. Great videos that
Yeah.
all of them are being hidden from you from YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
right? Balloon rockets, one of my favorite sections. Mind blowing, mind blowing. Balloon rockets. The get ready to lose your space fantasies by watching that. And just one other one. This one is the killer. This one is Tartaria, flat Earth, mud floods, everything all in one. It's a 5-hour video. When this video was sent to me, I was well into flat Earth, right? When that video was sent to me, I said 5 hours. I'm not watching that. And then someone else sent it to me. I was like, 5 hours, come on, right? And then another person sent it to me, so I put it on my list of things to maybe one to watch one day. And then one night, I'm cleaning up some stuff. I'm like, let me just throw something on the TV. I'm like, oh, let me just start this as I'm cleaning up stuff. I'm cleaning up. 5-10 minutes into it, I stop. I'm just staring at the TV. Next thing I know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, holy crap. My camera keeps, something's going on with my camera. It'll come back.
It's okay.
I was like, holy crap. So I went, did what I had to do that day, came back, I watched it again. I watched a 5-hour video twice in 24 hours. Okay. Why am I blurred out? Let me just go. Good. Keep talking. And
That's
I'm back.
commitment. Yeah, that's commitment. Now, I've watched a ton of your videos, especially recently because we obviously organised this a few months ago. Uh, this can be overwhelming for people because the amount of information you pack into your presentations, Dave, it's like, I think the best description I heard you say was it's like getting fed with a fire hose. So if we could go a little bit slow at the start, just for people who might not have came across this, can we get into the meat and bones of it and look at the main things that people will automatically argue when they're first presented with this information, the most common points that they'll try and argue against?
Do you have any? I mean, we can start with sunsets because that was one that got me. How does the sun set over the ocean?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
How does the sun set over the ocean? And the answer is you have to understand what the horizon is, right? You have to understand what the horizon is. So here's a perspective grid. Oh, get rid of that. Here's a perspective grid, right? Well, that's how we see. The sides go in and the top goes down, the bottom ramps up. That's how we see the world, right? So I'll put a guy here. His eye line is right there. Okay. I'll throw
Yep.
some mountains in here. What can you say about this mountaintop? Is it below his eye level, at his eye level, or above his eye level? Very easy.
Above.
Above.
Mhm.
So let's say it's a couple thousand feet above his eye level. Cool. And we got the sun up here. Is the sun above the mountain?
Yeah, it's above.
It's above it, way above it.
Mhm.
So as the sun moves away, just going away, it looks like it's going down. So what can you say about the sun right now? Is it below the mountain or is it beyond the mountain?
It looks like it's beyond the mountain.
It's beyond the mountain. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
logic would tell you. Now, one way to check it would be to float up in the air and look, or if you went backwards, you'd have a better angle, right?
Mhm.
Like if my elbow is where I was and this is my angle, as I move backwards, I get a better view and I could see farther, right?
Yeah.
You get a better
Mhm.
view. So if we move backwards,
Ah,
so now he went a couple miles backwards. What can we say about the top of this mountain? Is it at his eye level or is it above his eye level? Not what it
it's
looks like.
definitely.
Reality. Reality says says what? It's above.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's at his eye level, but
Yeah.
it's above his eye level. Now the sun is still above the mountain. And as the sun goes away, it goes below the mountain or beyond the mountain.
Yeah.
It goes
Wow.
beyond the mountain, right? So now we add the clouds in. Are the clouds above the mountain? Yes. The sun's above
Yep.
the clouds. The sun will go away. Now, this line here is the top of the mountains. This line here is the atmosphere, the clouds all wedging into that same line. So this line here is the top of the mountains, thousands and thousands of feet above his eyes. It's also the clouds, thousands of feet above the mountain. And what did the sun do? Did it go below it or just go beyond it? It just went beyond
Yeah.
it. But everything looks like it is at eye level when in reality it's not. Okay. Let's take that a little farther. A little farther. Stay on the same thing, but we're going to talk about here. This is seeing farther. Okay. So this guy, he can see right there. That's his horizon line, that red line. But if he went up to the top of a building, he can see farther, right? Down here, that's your vanishing point. Up here, the vanishing point is beyond it.
Yeah.
Globers like using that as a proof that the Earth is a globe because you go up higher. You know, they say Neil deGrasse Tyson says you can watch the sunset laying on the ground and then quickly stand up and you can see it set again. That's just because you're getting up higher and you can see
Yeah.
farther and you can see. And that doesn't always work. It depends on what the sun's going behind. Is it going behind a mountain? Is it going behind an atmospheric deck of opacity? You don't know, right? So here is this is a sun angle. So we got the sun. They sell it. Some people say that the sun is 3,000 miles up. I think it's like 15 miles up, maybe less. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't think the sun we see is a physical object. That's a whole nother thing. I think it's everyone sees it in a different position, but let's say it's 3,000 miles up. So we can do some math. 3,000 miles away, we can draw that. We can get a right angle. We can do some math and we can figure out, hey, this person's seeing the sun, at a 45-degree angle, right? I think that's 45
Yep.
degrees.
Yep.
Yeah, 45. And so when the sun moves over here on a flat Earth, it moves and then another 3,000 miles. So this would be like New York to California, California to Hawaii. Okay. Well,
Okay.
guess what?
Wow.
When it's noon in Hawaii, it's nighttime in New York. Okay. So we look at these angles, 45 degrees and then 27 degrees, right? Or 20, whatever. The sun would never set. What's the problem with this? The problem is this is an orthographic view. Nobody ever sees a side view. You only see things like this. Perspective will bring the sun lower.
Yeah.
Due to perspective, like stand under a street light on a long straight street, and the one above you is your noon sun, and the one down the road is your evening sun. It's lower. It looks like it's at your eye level. It's going to go into the horizon. One a mile away, you can't even see it. Okay, so this is what you're really seeing. But if you could get a perspective view, a orthographic view of the whole thing, you would see it. You would see it like this from the side, but nobody ever sees that way.
Dave, the average person from where they stand, how far away is the merging point where the ground rate comes up to eye level and the sky touches eye level? How far away from someone that's 6 foot, say?
On the globe model, it's 3 miles. If you're 6 feet tall, if you're sitting down, it's less than 3 miles.
Right. Okay.
Crazy, right? Have you ever watched the sunset over the ocean in California or on your West Coast, wherever you are?
We never see the sun here,
You never
Dave,
see
so
the
I can
sun.
assure you.
Right. I know that. you can see that it's going beyond something way beyond 3 miles, way beyond. And the
Mhm.
way you can see that is like I could zoom in on a buoy 10 miles away, and the sun's way beyond that, way beyond that. Well, if I'm sitting on the ground, that sun should be merging with a horizon line, a physical horizon line of water, curved water, and the sun going below it, because we're spinning, right?
Yeah.
It's actually really stupid. It's really stupid.
Yeah.
Um, where is I had the sun. I had oh, I know where it is. Trying to remember where I put things sometimes, and I
Mhm.
can't remember. Um,
It's a
so
massive app, though. You've got so much in the app. I mean, it's
yeah.
it's it's huge.
So here is the sky rotating above us. Sky's rotating above us. We're not moving, but they want you to believe that this is going on. They want you to believe that the sky is stationary and then we're tilting. Like, whoa, I'm tilting over. I'm tilting over. Look at the water's tilting too, right?
It's making me
And
feel queasy.
all they do is they get a telescope that has an axis on it, and they focus on one star and just say follow that star. So they're just following the
Uh,
star, and it makes the Earth. And everyone thinks that this proves that the Earth is spinning. This is
mhm.
low-minded, low-thinking people that are afraid to have their ball taken away,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because I mean, the first argument you'll usually hear are boats going over the horizon, pretty much like what you're showing with the sun there. But I think I've seen a few of your videos where you can zoom in and see boats further away
Yeah.
than you should be able to see them.
So we
Yeah.
don't see a ship here. And what we're doing is we're increasing the angular size. And as we zoom in, we're increasing our vision. And look, there's the ship right
Mm.
there. We're increasing it. Now watch. We're going to zoom in. You see the bottom of the ship. My finger can't hide that ship. But if my finger was a
No.
wave in the foreground, it could hide the whole ship. And look, it's disappearing from the bottom up. It's
Yeah.
disappearing. It's going beyond. It's not beyond a curve. If it was beyond a curve, I couldn't zoom in on it. I would zoom over it. But that's what happens. That's simple. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that this happens. Um, there's let me see. This one is it. Yeah. So there's some big waves out here. And look, the ship's going behind the wave.
Yeah.
Like the
Wow.
waves are the whenever you see big things going behind, it's usually a very wavy day, right?
Mm.
The big waves are they'll hide a ship. This is going to go way down and then it comes way back up. And that's
Mm.
not the edge of the earth curve. That's just a wave that's blocking everything else that's in the distance.
Yeah, and I
It's
guess as well, if you've got a hazy atmosphere close to the level of the water on a particularly hazy day, that makes the effect even worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Look, we're zooming in. All of a sudden, look, there's a whole bunch of boats out here. There's a whole bunch of boats, and now watch, they're they're, they're disappearing, and then they come back up and down. Look at this boat; it's gone. Is that over
Wow.
the Earth curve? No,
Wow.
it's just swells out there, but you can't perceive them in the distance. It just looks like a horizon. Mountains look like a horizon. Waves look like a horizon. Clouds look like a horizon. Everything goes into your horizontal, not curvizontal, horizontal eye zone.
What's the furthest, Dave, that anybody's ever done in an experiment? How far can they see objects across the water? What's the furthest distance?
Um, well, there's many. I mean, this is from a mountaintop. This is when you're down low, the air is the thickest and the hardest to see through. But when you're up higher
Mhm.
on a clear day, it's much thinner. And there's an Earth curve calculator. There's actually three formulas that can do Earth curve, and one of them is the one that we use based on the Pythagorean theorem, 8 inches per mile squared. And in reality, that one gives the benefit of the doubt to the globe. It actually has the least amount of curve. So we don't
Oh,
need
really? Wow.
we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So here is these mountaintops are 700 miles away. There should be over 40 miles of the tops of those mountains. The tops of the mountains should be 40 miles below the curve. You know what mainstream science says about this? Nothing. They won't address it.
No. I was
No,
expecting something like refraction or
no,
some
they
sort
can't.
of.
They can't say all of these mountains pop up and pretend
Mhm.
to be on a level line. They can't. They won't address it because the Earth is a globe and it can't be true. Therefore, they will not address it. That's childism, scientism,
Mhm.
childism. Okay, they're little crybabies that want their ball and will not, will not. They don't want to know anything, right? Here is a spot in the Luge, France, and we're looking out at over the ocean, and Canigou Mountain's 175 miles away, and guess what? We can't see it. That's because the top of the mountain should be well over a half a mile below the curve from this viewing spot using
Yeah.
the most forgiving Earth curve calculator, right? So
Mhm.
here's a question. Do you see me or do you see the light that's bouncing off of me?
The light that's bouncing off of
If I
you.
turned off all the lights in the room, you wouldn't see me. It'd be dark.
No.
So
Yeah.
what's brighter, the light that's bouncing off of me or the source of that light?
The source.
The source, 100%.
Mhm.
So the light that's bouncing off of Mount Canigou cannot push 175 miles through the thick atmosphere. But the sun migrates between the tropics. It goes from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn. And twice a year, the sun lines right up with the viewing spot and that mountain. And when it does,
Yeah.
the sun has enough brightness where it can push through 175 miles and it backlights the mountain. And here's the whole mountain. The very
Mm.
top of the mountain, right here, right there, should be a mile and a half. No, over a half a mile below the curve. But there's the entire mountain. Now, Glober will come back and go, well, you don't see the bottom, the bottom. That's because this is the false horizon. This is waves, atmosphere, all sorts of stuff blocking it. But you shouldn't be able to see any of this. And what they say about this one is, well, the sun is already set and the mountain is already over there, but the sun is refracting up and stopping at your eye level. And the mountain, how does a mountain that doesn't have any light refract up? If the mountain's down there, doesn't have any light on this side of it, and the sun refracts up because the light's refracting, how can a dark body refract up? How can
Mhm.
that refract? How come it's blocking the sun that's refracting up?
Yeah.
The sun's refracting up and it's taking things below the curve and oh, you're not going to refract that with me and block my light. People don't think because they're locked into their paradigm and they're like, I can't. Flat Earth is stupid. I'm not going to do it. My whole life is based on this. I have to throw out space and the secret space program and aliens and abductions. You don't have to throw out any of that. You just have to throw out outer space and go to the outer space.
Yeah. And how often does that effect happen there? Is it twice a year, you said?
Twice a year because
Twice.
the sun goes excuse me, the sun goes back and forth between the tropics. So here we have
Mhm.
flat Earth clock. We got the sun right there, and this outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn, and the inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. And so let's move it forward to March, April, May, and June. And June, are we in June? Yeah. So June, it's all the way in here. And that's when we have our summer. The sun is closer to us. Therefore, it's closer like that street light. It's higher in the sky. And it's
Mhm.
winter in Australia. It's winter in South Africa. It's winter in Santiago. But 6 months later, it's December. And the sun goes all the way out to the Tropic of Capricorn, far away from the UK, far away from America. It's cold. It's cold in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And everything in between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is called what? The tropics. Because the
Yeah.
sun passes over them twice a year.
Okay.
Us, it only comes near us and then goes away once a
Hmm.
year. Comes near
Yeah.
us and it goes away. That same thing out here. It comes near Australia and it goes away. Near Australia and it goes away. Right? So the tropics are called the tropics because they're in the tropics. Everything inside of the Tropic of Cancer, I'll call this the Antarctic area, the Arctic area, and everything out here we'll call the Antarctic area. Think about those words. This
Yeah.
doesn't prove anything. When you're here, let's speed this up. When you're inside this circle, anywhere inside this circle, what is the sun doing? Is it arcing around you? It's arcing.
Yeah.
It's making a big
Mhm.
arc. The arc tick like a clock. And when you're out
Wow.
here, is it arcing around you? No, it's coming towards you and away.
Mhm.
So it's the antarc tick,
Ah.
like a
Yeah.
clock. You know what they did?
Wow.
They gave us clocks. They said, you know what? Let's give the people clocks, but we'll make it go around twice a day so they can't figure out where they live. And then we'll change
Yeah.
an hour twice a year. We'll change the time of day to get their bodies out of sync with nature. And we'll make them not know what time it is. We'll change the calendar. It used to be 13 months of 28 days. 13 months of 28 days, that's 364. And then one day to reset for the new year. Guess what? Every turtle has 13 tiles and then 28 outer tiles.
Hmm.
Maybe there's some truth to the Mayans saying that the flat earth sits on the back of a turtle. I don't know, man.
Wow.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't,
that's interesting.
but,
That's
but
interesting.
it's interesting. I don't know what it means.
Mm. Yeah, that is interesting. I think one of the, people just take for granted, most people, when you talk to them, that pictures they see from space are real. They're real photographs, but they're not. The pictures, the composites that have been put together. I know that for a fact. We've never actually seen a real picture from space. And NASA, obviously, have looked really deeply into the Apollo moon missions. I had Bart Sabrell on as a guest. I'd read his books, seen his documentaries before, and that's a big related subject here because when you see that you can't trust the people that are supplying you with the information about space, where are you supposed to get reliable information from?
There's no NASA is what everyone uses to prove the globe. If we
Mm,
can show you that NASA lies about one thing, they're finished. But we can show you that they lie about everything. And then we've
mhm.
caught them too many times. Here's the 2002 Blue Marble 2.0. America is pretty darn big. Okay. Well, let's look at the rest of the world. Here's a map of the world. We'll put put the right there. So you understand what this means? This means that all of this land, all of this, 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 and Australia are on the other side of that ball.
Yeah.
Anybody that can't understand that, this disqualifies NASA from everything. This
Mhm,
is done. They're finished. It's over. If you can't understand
mhm.
this, go find a place to flip burgers because that's all you're going to get to. You're going to be a burger flipper. Not that this be if you're a good burger flipper and you have a restaurant, God bless you. But you're going to do something
Mhm.
that's not going to amount to anything. Okay? Because this
Yeah.
is simple. Use your
Mhm.
God-given mind. If you use your God-given common sense, if you understand where you live, if you understand what this place isn't, you will achieve great things. Great things. Because this
Yeah.
world is made for us.
Mhm.
We're not random specks flying through an infinite space vacuum, right? So
No.
this finished, done. There's nothing. I think this is 2012 the picture, 2012.
Mhm.
I think it's at 2002.
And
So
they keep changing the landmass size. I've seen various photos from NASA over the decades, and the land masses change size all the time.
yeah, well, I
It's
mean, look at this. These are 9 pictures of Earth from NASA. What this means is 8 of them must be fake, or 9 of them are all fake. Okay, because
yeah,
if one's real, then the other 8 are fake. They're all fake. They're all from
yeah.
NASA.
Well, this raises an interesting question. You might have a better take on it than I do. It's what I was hinting at the start of the discussion. If we were strangers and we met for the first time in the street, I offered you a deal, Dave, and I conned you out of your money, and then I come back 2 months later and I offer you another deal, you wouldn't take the deal because I've already stung you once. You won't get fooled by me
Well,
again.
maybe I give you a
But
second chance.
people,
Maybe I give you a second.
yeah, maybe. But people in authority, like, or people that are deemed to be in authority, like NASA, they can lie and lie and lie and lie, and yet people will come back and trust them again. It's the same in the political arena, which is why, like in the US system, every 4 years, people think something's going to be different again. No, it's going to be the same again.
Right? And
So
so,
it's very
people are like, what about the space station? So they were very excited. The Dragon vessel came up and they had some fresh fruit and they were playing with a lemon and they're showing you, look at this. Look what's going on here, right? This is called augmented reality. It's they're
wow.
playing with the CGI object. So watch carefully. Look at that. Look at that. First, that hand is like a claw. I mean, these guys might be reptiles. Who knows? But this is what we saw. Fake. Fake. It's over.
Mm.
It's over. So that's all you need. That's it. But we have a million. We have a million. Don Pettit's trying to show us. He goes, "Oh, we're tired of drinking out of bags, and I was able to make a cup that can hold the coffee, and he added some plastic, and watch the coffee. Watch, all of a sudden, bam, it's out of sync. It's out of sync. There's no explanation for this. There's no
Yeah.
explanation. Going back and forth. Look, there's no
What's
explanation.
the budget? What's the budget now, Dave, per day? I know it
$80
changes every
million
year.
every day. $80 million a day, right? Chris Hatfield loves playing his guitar. And so look, he's gonna play it upside down. It's cool. These guys are in different rooms. And the guy holding the microphone mistook where Chris was, and he stuck the microphone inside his neck. It's in his neck. Chris doesn't miss a beat, right? It's in his neck. This stuff
And
happens all the
did
time.
they just ignore
They
this
try
when
to
this
fix
is
it.
brought
They
up?
try to fix it. Watch this guy. Look, he's fading in. Why is he fading in? Why is he fading in? Why what's going on with that? Look, you can see through his head. You can see the wall,
Wow.
right? That just shows you they're using green screens, well, and layers. Watch, his hand glitches out right here. That's all right. But watch here, another glitch, and watch right under his arm. Oh, what was that? There it is. Green screen. I'm using a green screen right
Oh.
here. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow.
So, I mean, again, we can spend all day here doing this, but this is real. This is how they confuse you. This is a ball filled with helium that just is neutrally buoyant. You ever get a balloon and set it just right? So this is a big balloon set with just right. So it's neutrally buoyant, but watch here. Whoa, where'd that come from? They even put a
Wow.
little Star Trek beaming thing and made a beaming noise. Okay, because why? Are they poking at us, or are they trying to capture kids' imagination? Right?
Hmm.
And this is what it is. It's called augmented reality, where you can move things virtually. They're either looking at a computer screen or something in the distance, or they have contact lenses that have little, images in them so they can see what they're maneuvering. Right? Watch the movie Gravity. They do way better than NASA.
Hmm.
Way, way, way better.
The the artist who worked on the photos, I can't remember his name. Dave, the blue marble, the picture that we all had on our iPhones and stuff like that as a
Yep.
screensaver.
Yep.
He pretty much admitted that it was photoshopped, it was layered. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Robert Simon, and he said that he made it in Photoshop because it has to be, and he used he just took images, he just took data, and said, "No, there's some algae here, so I'll make that greener." And he literally just made it in Photoshop, and you can see because he was lazy, he used the same clouds again and again, kept clone stamping clouds and stuff. The thing is, when you go up to 120,000 feet, which is only 20 miles, the Earth is white. There's so much atmosphere, it's white because you're not looking up at the sky. You're looking down at the Earth through the atmosphere. It literally turns white. This is the Earth from 120,000 feet. This is actual footage from a balloon. This is what it looks like. So they go farther away and they see these vivid colors. Are you kidding me?
And then you look at the blue marble, you look at the blue marble, and it's a perfect sphere. But yeah, I've heard Neil deGrasse Tyson calls it an oblate spheroid. It's not actually a sphere at all. So
So,
somebody's got to be lying here.
well, Neil's lying. But basically, though, he says that even with Mount Everest and being an oblate sphere, if you took the Earth and shrank it down to the size of a pool ball, a cue ball, it would be smoother than a cue ball. And people are, oh, it's so
Wow.
cool. I used to actually think that was cool. I actually believe that.
Yeah.
I heard that years ago, right? More pictures of the Earth. Pictures. NASA will never say photograph. They'll only say picture or image because they're not lying. They're not
Wow.
lying.
Wow.
Yeah.
What really made me chuckle was, obviously you've covered it many times, was von Braun in his grave. Obviously he was brought over Operation Paperclip, I'm sure, after World War II. And on his grave he's got a very, very interesting thing on his grave.
Yeah. Werner von Braun, the Nazi scientist, was brought over, to um, run NASA, and his gravestone just has his date and says Psalms 19:1, which reads, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork."
Hmm.
So that's a little crazy. I have a great
Yeah,
T-shirt,
that
by
is
the way,
crazy.
that has this on it, and people love it. Check out my T-shirt shop on flatearthdave.com or on the app in the shopping section. Really cool shirts to kind of, it's hard to bring the topic up, but if you're wearing a shirt, they're like, what does that mean? Now the conversation started. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
In terms of the firmament, Dave, that's a very interesting putting Psalms 19:1 on his grave there and what that passage says. In terms of the firmament, that would hint at there being some sort of hard obstruction between us and whatever's above us, i.e., space or whatever label people want to put on that. That brings up an interesting topic, I suppose, about the arguments you hear talking about, why does the atmosphere not get sucked off the planet if space really is a vacuum and we've not got a hard
Well,
barrier between
they
us?
they say that's because the atmosphere has weight, and as it goes up, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner until it turns to nothing, which is
Mm,
provably untrue. Provably untrue, right? Because I can take a box of and suck all the air out of it, and no matter where I am, if I open it top, bottom, left, or right, it's going to violently suck the air in. So the vacuum of space would pull all of the air out, and I could prove that gravity is not holding the air down because with the weak vacuum low pressure of my mouth and lungs, I can suck air and water up and away from gravity down here where it's stronger.
mm,
Up there, it's less strong. And the vacuum, we can't even make the vacuum of space here on Earth. Yeah, NASA has a vacuum chamber. The walls are like 10 feet thick of steel and concrete. Otherwise, it would implode upon itself. And they can only get it to like half of what space is.
mm.
It's insane. The power, the pressure, and then you take a container like a propane tank. Thickest gas is on the bottom. It's liquid, and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner up to the top. But put a hole anywhere in that tank, and all the gas is gone.
Mhm.
It violently fills the available space. But when it's contained and pressurized, it will sort itself out and get heavier on the bottom and lighter on the top.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Um, on that, you mentioned gravity there as well. And again, gravity is just a theory. It's never been proven. But the problem with gravity as a theory, the way they talk about it, is it doesn't work on its own. There's not enough mass, so they've had to invent other theories to make it work on paper. Dark matter, dark, and so on.
Yeah, the gravity is literally a theory. Let's say you lent me $100
Mhm.
and I came back to you and said, here you go, $4. We're set. I gave you four
Yeah, I wouldn't
dollars.
be happy. I wouldn't be happy,
Well,
dude.
no. What would you say?
Yeah.
What would you say?
Where's the other 96?
Well, they're dark dollars. Dark
Yeah.
dollars. They're dark dollars. They're there because they have to
Mhm.
be there because I paid you back. Therefore, they're there. That is no
Yeah.
less stupid than dark matter and dark energy because they say
Mhm.
gravity doesn't work unless there's 96% more matter out there. Oh, let's make dark matter and dark energy. No one's ever seen it, no one's ever measured it, but it has to be there because gravity. And that's the one thing they can't go back on. They need gravity because gravity is everything. Gravity is the Big Bang. That gravity is evolution. Gravity is all the planets. Gravity is everything to keep us in this mind prison. I'm no longer in the mind prison. I'm unplugged from the matrix. And people say, well, what difference does the shape make? I still have to go to work on Monday. As I said earlier, I don't have to go to work on Monday. I used to have my own business, right? Um, but I walked away from it all to talk to people like you about stuff like this because this is the most important topic of our time. And people are like, what do you mean? There's child trafficking and there's drugs and there's economies and wars. They get away with all of that because people are lost, out of control, spinning through space, don't know where to plant their feet down, have no foundation, and believe the nonsense that the government says. When you put your feet down, planted on the God's flat earth, and understand your true power, you take it back. You unplug from the Matrix. Go watch the Matrix. It's a documentary. Okay. And you take your power back and what difference does it make? I'm only one person. I can't make change. That's not true. It's not true at all. One person awake is stronger than a million who lie
Mhm.
or are lost.
Yeah.
So flat earth is making a huge comeback. There's many big podcasts that are know the earth is flat and they're getting ready to talk about it. They're talking to me. I've been on every show from InfoWars to Stu Peters, Peggy Hall, um, everything, WABC, NBC, coast to coast radio, everywhere. And they're all starting to listen. I just did a show, a alien channel show, and they're like, whoa, aliens make more sense than a flat earth. Extraterrestrials, they come from the extra terra out here
Mhm.
beyond, let alone versus impossible, ridiculous outer space with distances that can't even be fathomed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting because I was speaking to a ufologist. Obviously, I'm a skeptic about everything. I've got an open mind, and that's obviously why we're having uh, an interesting discussion like this, Dave. I don't know. Obviously, I've got my own ideas about certain things, but I'm willing to listen to theories on any subject and I'll contemplate it. But one of the things he said to me was that the reason he's got the view he does on aliens and so on not coming from distant galaxies is they're always seen close to or on the Earth, not far away from it.
that's right. So think about it. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away.
Mm.
If we could go 100,000 miles an hour, which is unfathomable, it would only take us 28,000 years to get there. And then when we
Yeah,
got there, we're like, oh, it's a dead star. There's no planets here. We got to go to the next star. Oh, the next star is 100 trillion miles away. We
yeah.
got to do that. We gotta go for 100,000 years now. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's stupid. And space is scientifically impossible. Burning balls of gas in a space vacuum. Since when does gas collapse upon itself? Everywhere it violently fills the available space, but somehow there's an infinite amount of it in space and it collapses upon itself and makes stars. Dumb, stupid. It's so stupid that people just short circuit go, well, I don't understand it. The reason you don't understand it is because it's stupid. That's why you don't understand it, because it's not understandable. But you think that, oh, well, I'm just not smart enough. No, you've been brainwashed into thinking that somebody's smarter than you. And so extraterrestrials, extra terra, territory, more land. Extraterrestrials come from the extra territory in the outer space beyond Antarctica. If we look over here on the app, I'll go to the images section. I'll just type in map. And what if the Earth is set up like this? We live here. This is Antarctica. And here's extra lands, other civilizations out here. Other civilizations out here, just thousands of miles away, maybe 20,000 miles away, not trillions of miles away. You know how long a trillion seconds is? You know, right?
Yeah.
31,000 years.
Yeah.
That's on people's minds, just short circuit. 31,000 years. I don't think the Earth is a trillion seconds old. Okay.
Yeah, the people can't contemplate numbers that size when their own life is maybe
By
70
design.
to 100 years.
By design, right?
Yeah.
So here's an old map, right? Interesting. What's got 30, 40 continents out there? Fascinating, right? There's all sorts of stuff. I mean, if we look at old maps of the world, they're showing, you know, the center here. You got these 4 rivers coming out. They don't want us to know any of this stuff, any of it, right?
It's one of the biggest problems, Dave, that most people don't realize what the heliocentric model actually is. I mean, most people, well, some people might know what speed the Earth spins at, but they might not know that it's traveling in another 2 directions.
Most people that defend the globe don't even know any of it. You can even tell them at the equator, the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. The Earth is approximately 24,000 miles in circumference. How many? Oh, no. You say, no. You say to them, the circumference of the equator is just about 24,000 miles. It rotates once per day. How fast is the equator spinning? And they can't answer it. It's 1,000 miles an hour, 24,000 miles once per day, right? Because they can't fathom that the land is moving that fast. Therefore, their brain can't do a simple math problem. It's amazing how little they know. The harder they fight, the less they know. If Globers go ahead.
No, sorry, I was going to say something that's really simple for me, Dave. You're talking about 1,000 miles an hour, spinning 1,000 miles an hour, but it's also traveling at 66,600 miles an hour in one direction and so on. But all the planets, galaxies are supposed to be moving away from each other. But yet, if you look at ancient structures like the pyramids, certain stars will still line up with shafts within the pyramids thousands of years later. They haven't moved one inch.
They say that the shafts in the pyramid used to point towards a different North Star, but but now they point 2,000 years later, they point towards Polaris, and 2,000 years from now, they point somewhere. Oh, sure. But we actually proved that with the Georgia Guidestones, where we showed that the star hasn't moved. We knew when that was built. We knew it was pointed towards Polaris, and it was still pointed towards Polaris. And as soon as we started making videos about it, they blew up the Guidestones and they plowed them down within hours and never did any investigation. Interesting, right? Every bomb has a signature, and they didn't care. What if we live here? What if there's more land here? What if this is the limit of our pond, and here's another pond? Maybe this is the pond of Mars. Maybe this is the pond of Pluto and Jupiter. And these are other worlds, pieces of the plane, a planet, if you will. What if there's a superdome over this entire thing, and then there's energetic domes that keep people in their place until they reach a certain level of consciousness that allows them to travel in between the worlds? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is speculation. I'm not saying this is the case. Some people think it's just our world, just our little dome. Um, I don't know if that's true.
What's the most accurate map in your opinion, Dave, in terms of what the flat Earth
The Gleason's map.
support?
It's literally the best map. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good because I can go here and this is a representation of the Gleason's map, and I can call somebody right now in Australia, and they would say it's noon and the sun's right above me, and then I could wait until the sun's over here, and then call somebody in Johannesburg and say where's the sun? They'd be like, oh, it's right above me, and it's about noon, and so every place where the sun is I can tell, it is accurate. Let me turn it off and go to our current time. And so you're in the UK, which is right over here, right? Right about there.
Hmm.
So,
Yep.
wow, is it that late? Is the sun going to come up? What time is it there?
No, no, no. It's only quarter. It's coming up for 2:15 in the morning.
So it's a 2:15. So you're like right here. Yeah, okay, you got a little while, like, a couple
Yeah.
hours, the sun's going to come around and
Hmm.
then you're going to be up.
Yeah. I mean, what I was trying to get at with the map, Dave, is there's no map in history that's completely accurate.
No,
They've
I
all
agree.
got
I agree.
discrepancies. So that was one of the things that jumped out to me about the debate between Pastor Greg Locke and Pastor Dean Odell. I watched the 3 hours of that, which was quite painful at times. But
I was sitting in the
that
front row.
oh,
Don't tell me
did
how
you go?
painful it was.
Yeah.
I was in the front row. You kidding me?
Oh,
And he
wow.
brought me up a whole bunch of times. I didn't even know he knew who I was. But
Oh, I heard them saying Dave. I didn't realize
yes,
that was you.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
And it was just brutal. But I can tell you a very funny story about
Yeah.
what happened there. But the globe map is the worst map of all. The globe
Mm,
map, nobody uses the globe to navigate. All all autopilots use the Gleason's map. Okay.
mm.
I don't know what's up with that. If you look at Southern flight routes, which I'm sure you have, they're all straight lines on the Gleason's map. They're crazy, stupid, uh, lines that go way up north and way back down why don't they just cross over because it makes no sense on a on a on a flat Earth. But on my app, just type in Southern routes. There you go, Southern flights, and here, like right here, this is the routes, three different routes to go from South Africa to Australia. But look at it on a flat Earth map, straight line. Stop for some fuel.
Wow.
Yeah. There's crazy ones, right? If you look at about this one, right? Goes all the way up to the North Los Angeles, all the way back down to Lima, Peru. Why don't they just fly across here? Oh, this is
Makes no
why.
sense.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Straight line. Straight line.
I remember a couple of years ago, Max Egan done the live recording on the flight, and it was on. I think it was Globebusters, and I remember
Yeah,
you was talking to him then.
I was involved with that.
That was an interesting turn
So
up for the
so
books.
let me tell you what happened there. Max got very pissed off at flat earthers because they were really aggressively coming at him, right? And so
Hmm.
when you aggressively come at somebody like Max, he just gets defensive, locks himself into a position. He kind of locked himself into a position. However, Max, there was a lot of flat earthers saying that the flight from Santiago to Australia or New Zealand is doesn't exist. There's no direct flight. And Max is like, yes, there is a direct flight. And they're like, no, there isn't. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Max, why do you think there's a direct flight? He goes, because I take it. And we're like, when's it? He goes, and I'm taking it again in like next week or something. And we're like, hey, let's do a live stream. You can live stream. You can join the live stream while you're at the airport. We can watch you board. You keep it running until you lose signal. Then we'll track the plane. We'll keep the live stream live the whole time, tracking the plane. And when you land, as soon as you can connect again, connect back to the live stream. And he did it. And we're like, okay, that's a nonstop flight. So we proved it, which doesn't prove anything. It just proves the flight exists. And some people think that, well, that it's too far on a flat Earth. Well, that's perfectly been explained. But Max took some compass readings, right? And his compass readings were this. Right. Um, Oops. That's not what I'll show you. Where does that go? Just lost it. Max, 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 max. So that why is that still showing? Hold on. There we go. Rid of that. All right. So Max took some compass readings. Get back here. There we go. So Max took some compass readings
Mm-hmm.
that were northwest. They were kind of north, then northwest, and then right here, it was just west for a very short period of time. Then it was southwest, and then south, south. And
Mm.
so we charted them out on a flat Earth, right? Here's the North Pole, right? North, northwest, west is only a line, and then southwest, south, southwest, and then south. And he thought he would be going southwest and then a little bit north across the bottom of the ball. That's what he didn't do. His compass readings prove the flat Earth. I just went to Anarchapulco. I was a speaker at Anarchapulco. They had flat Earth there this year. And by the way, flat Earth took over the conference. There's 50 speakers, all but Larkin Rose were flat. Everyone knows the Earth is flat. And when I asked the audience, packed house, raise your hand if you think the Earth is a globe. 3 people raised their hands. Okay.
Wow.
Well, and there was a few Globers in the back, a couple dozen, that were afraid to raise their hands. Having the tides turned. Okay.
Mm.
Having the tides turn. The Globers are afraid to admit it. So 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 that was amazing. And at the end, Max came up to me and said, great presentation. Except the southern flights, I don't agree because I take those flights. It's like, Max, you take the flights. We know how they work. They use air currents. We know where they go. There's certain planes. There's only certain pilots that can fly them. And it makes sense on a flat earth. It makes no sense on a globe when you actually see it on the app in the frequently asked questions, right? Go to Southern Flights, which is um Southern Flights. Where's Southern Flights? Right here. Southern Flights. All the videos that are being hidden from you, watch them, and then you'll understand how Southern Flights actually prove the flat Earth. But last thing, and then we got to wrap it up, is Greg
Okay.
Locke. So Greg Locke,
Mm-hmm.
just horrible. But one of the things he denied was the interpretation of God scrolling back the sky and letting the heavens, letting the waters fall in. He's like, that's not what they meant. Argument. 2 minutes later, he cancels the whole
Yeah.
debate, shuts off his microphone. Dean goes, okay, here's the microphone, and he slams it down like a child, right? And it was crazy. That's in Tennessee. Tennessee, you're in the UK. Tennessee is a southern state, rarely gets any cold weather, and rarely gets any snow. A couple months ago, like a month or two after the debate, when was the debate? It was in October? Well, whatever it was. A couple months later, the skies rolled back, the heavens opened up. It snowed so hard, his entire church collapsed to the ground. It got
Wow.
flattened from the waters above.
Wow. That's karma.
It got
That's
flattened. And oh my God, he put a video out of, oh my God, my church collapsed. This is unbelievable. And the comments were brutal. I mean, flat earthers
Mhm.
could be the meanest people in the world, but boy, did they hammered him on this,
Yeah.
hammered him.
I mean, the truth community has always been divided. People, they protect a theory, and they can close their minds a little bit to everybody else's point of view. Sometimes, just before we finish up, then Dave, you've been really kind with your time. I really appreciate it. There's compelling points for me to look at here. As I said, I'm a skeptic about everything, but obviously they're really compelling and interesting arguments. Why do you think this is this has actually happened? Why the lie? I know
Well,
this is
the reason why the lie is the greatest question of all, and it's to hide your divinity. It's to hide where you are. It's to hide more resources. All the wars and all of the conflicts in all of the world are always about resources and land, right? What if there's 10,000 other continents, other civilizations, other resources that they're hiding from us, that they're using, and they're using us because this is a spiritual world that we live in. They're using our energy. They don't want us to know who we are. They don't want us to know the true power of our mind. And they're literally vampires sucking the power out of us. They're using us to fuel their world, which is hard for many people to believe. But just take it that they're hiding more land. They're hiding God, right? Because, there's people that, know they think the earth is a globe and have a relationship with the creator. And there's a lot of people that just doubt God and don't believe in God or full on atheist. I was a full on atheist until I understood that the world is incredibly designed. Then I have no choice. There's a verse in the Bible that says, once you see my creation, you can no longer deny my existence. That's a fact. Once you see that this place is intelligently designed. So the elite hate the creator, hate God. They want to be God. And so they're literally trying to separate man from God in many, many, many different ways. And it's all about power and control over the human race. And you can't, like, if we all knew that we were in a prison, the globe is a prison, we would freak out. People cannot be contained. So, but if you hide the walls and make them think they're free, vote left, vote right, right?
mm,
And guess what? You can go work all your life and get 2 weeks vacation paid, maybe. And then, get old and die, and lay on a beach when you don't even want to lay on a beach because you're sick. And that's what they want. They want you just being a good little worker slave for their corporate system, playing on their ball field, and never to reach your full potential. That's why the lie. It's unbelievable. One more quick thing I just want to show you. On a globe, there'd be 24 time zones, right? Straight line down. Okay. Did you know that? So if you took the flat Earth and wrapped the outer edge down around the globe, it's going to get very wrinkly down there. You're going to lose a lot of space.
mm-hmm.
And so if the Earth is flat, those time zones have a lot more area far south than they do in the north. So it's hard to fit them around a ball. Well, did you know that there's 19 time zones in the north, 24 in the tropics, and there's 32 time zones in the outer south?
No, I didn't know
Ball or flat?
that. Yeah, I did not know that. I'll need to have a look at that. I did not know that. What's the percentage of people within the flat earth movement? What's the percentage that have actually come to believe in God again?
100.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I draw the line.
Mm.
There's a creator. Now it's your job to figure out your relationship to the creator. If you want to be from a Buddhist point of view or a Christian point of view or a Jewish point of view, that's up to you. That's your deal. I don't need organized religion to have my relationship with the creator. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have my understanding. And what I tell people is, there's some great Christians out there that set great examples, and there's other ones that tell you you're going to hell if you don't accept Jesus. Well, all they're doing is pushing people away, right?
Yeah.
And so just set an example and find listen. You can have a relationship with the Creator, and it's your personal relationship. It's no one else's friggin' business. It really
Mm-hmm.
is no one else's business.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, no, I was just interested because I hear so many people in the truth community, that's what can actually bring them to believe in,
Well,
a
here's the thing.
creative
People say
force.
the flat Earth is a religious thing. No, it's not. Right? There's over 200 verses in the Bible. Yes, but I don't use the Bible to prove flat Earth because that anyone that doesn't believe in the Bible isn't going to go there. I use science. I use facts. I use things that you can test and measure and prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go, no, it's also in the Bible. The
Yeah,
Bible also says the same thing. So, there
yeah.
are people though that'll say, well, I just believe what's in the Bible. Okay, start there. And then guess what? There's science that actually matches that up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I,
that's it.
I remember real quick story. I'm going to go forever. I was a little kid, and I went on a Young Life trip, and I was like, I was born in a Jewish family, but we were non-practicing, so I really knew nothing about anything. But I didn't want to be left out of this trip, a Young Life trip. I was like, I'm going to go. We went to Bermuda, and we're in Bermuda, and we're on a cliff, and they're doing a Bible study. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, a Bible reading. Okay, it's kind of like weird. And the first verse he read is like, and the stars fell to the earth. And I was like, oh, this is bull crap. The stars would eat the earth, right? The stars are the size of a house and the earth is the size of a marble. Okay.
Mhm.
I like, they're dumb. And from there on, I discarded all religion and the Bible 100% because of that one verse. So
Yeah.
it was very effective. And now I was like, wait a minute, the stars are all here above the earth. They're very small and they could all fall to the earth. And who knows what they are? Maybe they're angels. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Um, this place is amazing. This world is amazing. There's no time ever to even consider being bored. I'll never be bored for a second in my life. I used to stare at the wall. I used to flip channels. Oh, look, Gilligan's Island. I'll watch it. I would watch. I just anything to occupy your mind, and that's all by design. They wanted a
Yeah.
television in everyone's house, and they got it.
Yeah. Brilliant. I've actually got another two guests this week that I think will be really good follow on from this, Dave. I've got somebody talking about the electric universe theory tomorrow because I think that can show up things to do with the craters on the moon and so on. And I've got allegedly Dave on Sunday.
Dave's a good friend of mine. Tell him I said hello,
Yeah, no.
and
Yeah, will do.
he's the man. And ask him about his one wheel. Ask him about his scooter. He'll be so happy to talk about
Right,
that.
okay. But
Okay.
before you head off, can you just tell the listeners where they can find out more about you, where they can get your app? I mentioned it at the start of the show, but it's good to remind them. And
Do you
where
have my
is
app?
yes.
Do you have my app? So in the friend finder, if you click this button right up here,
Mhm.
that'll tell you your referral code. Okay, this is just a test app, so that my referral code's all
Mhm.
D's. Do you have a referral code?
No.
Do you have your app handy?
Yeah. Well, it's my camera. I'm actually using
Oh,
my
you're
phone
the
camera.
camera. So when you edit this, tell people what your referral code is, because if anyone downloads the app, it asks if they have a referral code, and then you'll get
Okay.
a point, and you could trade the points in for the subscription if you want the
Mm.
subscription. And there's other
Yeah.
things, some people, and you also can get on the leaderboard with your show name. So this is the leaderboard. My lunch break, my favorite channel on YouTube. Um, these are people that are, they referred a lot of people to the app. So
Yeah.
kind of fun. You might want to add that. But you don't need it
Brilliant.
to get the app. And can we try a quick experiment?
Yeah, of course.
So this is just a test version of the app on the computer, and I haven't tried a group call yet. I don't even know if it's going to work. Oops, it's not going to work yet. Okay, we're
That's
not.
okay. That's okay.
There we go. There we go.
Couple of interesting points. So is the best place your website, theflatearthpodcast.com, and also they'll be able to get it on the App Store and so on.
The easiest place to find my stuff is flatearthdave.com,
Okay.
and that takes you to the Flat Earth Podcast. It's the same site. Um,
Okay.
and and just Flat Earth, I just say Flat Earth Dave because it's so much easier. Because like Flat Earth Podcast, people they forget they're like the Flat Earth, the Earth, they forget. FlatEarthDave.com takes you to the same place.
Yeah.
And the app
To
is there. There's the crash courses there. There's must see videos. All my socials are there. Follow my YouTube channel DITRH and my TikTok and lots of great stuff. Stuff that Google won't serve you.
yeah, of course, because it's everything's filtered on there with
Yeah.
the algorithm and stuff. Now, two interesting things, and then that's us. Obviously, I stopped getting notifications from the app, Dave. I've had it for a couple of years, and all of a sudden this week I started getting pop-ups from it again. I was like, "What's going on?" And also, when we
Have
look,
you updated the app lately?
I'm terrible at that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
you need to update the app.
Okay, and Uh, your your email is the only email I've ever had in correspondence that went into my junk folder. I never seen it the first time we talked for about a week.
Yeah, that's a problem. They're doing everything they can to stop it. That should make you want to look even more.
Yeah.
But
It's only time it's ever happened.
yeah. Well,
It's been a pleasure, Dave. Honestly, you've been great.
thanks, man, and good luck. And anybody listening, try to win those 3 Bitcoins. Go to my website, check out the crash course, get the app. Um, think for yourself. Don't let other people think for you. Memorization and regurgitation is not education.
That's a great way to finish, Dave. That's perfect. Thank you.